Welcome back, everybody, to the Independence Public Library's Maker Monday. Once again, I'm Mr. Alex, and for this very last Maker Monday of the year, I wanted to do something very, very special. Now, a little personal story about me. Ever since I was little, um, it was almost tradition to go to my grandparents' house during the holiday seasons, and one of the things that I loved to do is the second I got to my grandparents' house, I ran up to the attic and I would play with this really, really cool marble run set that they had. It was the coolest thing. I don't know why I never had one personally, but every time I went to my grandparents' house, it was waiting there for me, and I loved to play with it. Me and all of my siblings, and even a whole bunch of relatives and cousins that I only ever saw a couple times a year got together and played with this really cool marble set. So it's always got a special place in my heart for the holiday seasons. Um, and now approaching that, I thought it would be really, really cool if I could show you how to make your very own. Even if you don't have a marble run set at home, I can show you how to make one with very basic materials, mostly cardboard. So I'll actually show you a few different things that you can do, a few different marble run techniques, and you might be able to put them together to make something really cool. So let's get started. I got my marbles right here. Woo! But we're not going to need to use those until we actually build the marble run. First, let's do a fairly simple one. And all this takes is a normal box. And what we're going to do is turn this into almost like a little staircase where it goes down one side and then comes down the other all the way, and then it comes out the other side. So we'll take our box, and this could be a cereal box or really anything else that's rectangular. Usually bigger the better, the longer the better, but I'm using just a little popcorn one to do the example. And in order to see what you're going to be doing, you're going to want to take some scissors and cut out this part right here so you can see what you're doing. Or, like I did, on this side I've already got it done. So once you've got this, I've decided I want my marble to go in from this side and come out down here. So what I can do is I can take my scissors and cut a little hole up here to put the marble, and cut a little hole down here to take the marble out. And that's pretty simple. But for the inside, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make little ramps on both sides. And so what you can do is take a piece of cardboard and cut them out so that they fit right in here. And that's actually what I've done already. I've taken two little pieces of cardboard that I'm going to use as the slope. So it goes in right there. And it's going to land on this slope, fall off that slope, land on the next one, and continue all the way down. And all you're going to need to do is either glue them down in the order that you want. Laying down like this would probably be very simple. Or you could tape it, or a little of both. Whatever you've got that you can get it to stick. It's very, very, very flexible in the way you're doing it, since cardboard sticks well to all of these things. I'm going to start with a little bit of tape, because I think that's all I'm going to need for this, but I might reinforce it with glue just to be sure. Okay. Very nearly done. I tape the bottom and the top of the cardboard ramp, and then I also tape the cardboard ramp to the wall that it's touching, like that. I might want to adjust that one a bit so it's a bit more even, but you get the idea. This is a very basic way that we can make this work. And since most of these boxes have little flaps that we seal and reseal, you can make that open and use that to start cutting along with your scissors so you don't have to just jam it in, because that can, it's a little dangerous. So instead, we'll just cut like one half circle on this side. Take the other flap and also cut around that one. Doing so giving you a little exit where the marble can come out. And I'll clean that up a bit. I don't want to make you wait as I make it look all nice and pretty. And that's basically how you'd make one of these. And like I said, you can use any box as long as it's sturdy enough. You might want a different kind of cardboard than the box itself for the ramps, because like this box, for instance, and I know a lot of cereal boxes can be a little bit flimsy, and they might, make the marble drop, or the marble might break it. So a different sturdier piece of cardboard for the ramps, and then a box for the overall shell, so it can go in the top, come out the bottom, and keep going along with the marble run. Okay, on to the next marble run piece we're going to make. This one's going to use, you guessed it, a cardboard tube. Would it really be a Maker Monday without a cardboard tube? I feel like we've used these things way more than I was ever planning to. Still, if you've got like old paper towel rolls, this would be the perfect use for it. We are going to make a spiral, which are some of the coolest parts of a marble run to look at, because the way we're going to do this is we're going to have this paper towel roll, cardboard tube right here, and we're going to use several paper plates to wrap around it so we get this nice little spiral all the way down, like a little slide. You can put the marble on the top, it'll go woo all the way down. Okay, we'll start with this first bit. We don't have to do anything with the cardboard tube yet. And actually, you don't have to do anything with it at all if you don't want, other than just leave it as the base. And it can just be a simple slide. So we'll set that aside for now, and we're going to work, well, actually, we need this for a second, sorry. So we're going to use this to measure out a hole in around the center of the paper plate. So you're going to want to find approximately the center. It doesn't have to be exact. You can make this work even if you're a bit off. So just find about the center, and you're going to take something to circle and trace around. I've got a nice little circle there. I don't think it's going to show up very well for you, but I can see it. Circle right there. And what you're going to do now is you're going to take a nice pair of scissors, and you're going to cut a line straight from the edge straight down to the circle, trying to be as straight as possible and not waver around. There we go. I've cut a line to it, and now I'm going to cut a little circle out of it. And kind of like with the actual tracing of the circle, this doesn't have to be exact or even super duper pretty. You just want to make sure that it's as close to what you traced as possible. And so we're left with a paper plate like this, with kind of a circle cut out. I could have done a little bit better on that. And what you would do with this is you would take your paper towel roll or your cardboard tube, whatever you'd like to call it, and you would put this around it. And you might be able to see where this is going now. So it already kind of holds fairly steady on there, but you're going to want to reinforce this with tape or glue. I'm probably going to use a little bit of both. Tape to make sure that everything gets into place, and then glue to make it really stay. And as you can see, where the cut is, you can make one side go higher and you can make one side go lower. So if you were to put the marble right here on the high side, it would go whoop all the way down. So now the goal is to get more paper plates and do the exact same thing. And the cool thing is, when you get them all onto the cardboard tube, you can make them line up. And this takes a little bit of doing. This is probably the most difficult thing to do today. Or not even really difficult, just a little time consuming. You just want to make sure that you can line all of these up perfectly. I would say your best bet is to start and line these up so where one ends connects to another paper plate. And then take your handy dandy tape and connect them together. That way you really solidify what the slide is going to look like for your marble. like I said, uh, it takes a little bit of time, so be patient with it, especially if you use more and more of these paper plates. And something else you might notice is that you can't really make them too far apart. So for a craft tube of this size, I would say maybe 6 or 7 paper plates would be a good goal. And then it'll slide and slide around. And then you just need to make sure that when you've got them all on there and you decide about the distance that you want to keep them apart, that you start taping them together. Okay, there we go. And as you can see, that definitely took a bit of time, and this is kind of the spacing you need. If you do it much further apart than this, you get the issue where they don't like to connect together. But this one, very, very luckily, you know, this is what we've got so far, and I'm going to continue to go through and add more plates along. And like I said, you can make this go for as long as you want or until you run out of room. And that's the spiral right there. I think this is actually kind of cool for the holiday season, considering that with the brown craft tube and the green plates, at least for my plates, it almost makes it look like a tree. Okay, time for more craft tubes. So what we're going to do for this one is we're going to make towers. And with these towers, we're going to connect them together so that you can put a marble in one and it'll roll down a ramp to the next one and roll down a ramp to another one and keep going for as long as you want it to, and maybe even go back to some of the ones it's already visited. So to start with, let's choose the tower we're going to have this begin at. And I just choose this one because why not? Let's decide that, hey, we're going to want the marble to come out, you know, go into the top, of course, but then come out down here, like out of a little window. Choose where you want the window to be, and then you're going to take scissors and you're going to cut a little hole. Okay, now I've got like a little window. And this is where we want the marble to come out of. So when you stick it in here, it'll go here and land and come down here. Of course, right now, if you just stuck the marble in, it just goes all the way through. That's why we're going to have to add something for it to catch. And we will. What you need to do, well, what you need to do is you need to take a craft stick, take your scissors, cut down one side, cut down the other side so that you've got half tubes. These ones are stuck together. And with these half tubes, these are your little ramps. These are the bridges that connect your towers together. So for this one in the little window, we can just slide this ramp inside. And I think I need to make that window a little bit bigger. Perfect. Slide it inside. What do you know? We've got like a little slide for our marbles to go down. So now, instead of falling straight through, if we stick this on here, whoop, goes so fast I almost can't show you. It just goes in, it slides down. So next up, we're going to have to choose the next tower for it to go to. Oh, and you're also going to have to decide how steep you want it. I'd say don't make it too steep. Make it not quite straight on like this, just a tiny bit down. That way your marble run can last longer, you can make it go on further. I mean, the steeper it is, the faster it will go, but it's going to get to the ground eventually. So I personally like to make them last a little bit longer. So I'll find this one and double check to make sure where your first window was. Compare them and say, okay, I need it to be a little bit lower to catch it. So we'll pick about right there. Cutting out our next little window. Making it wide enough so that the tube will fit inside of it. Voila. Now, connecting it to the first one, you've now got two towers that are right next to each other like this. Although, unlike this one, you don't want the tube to go all the way in, because if it goes all the way in, the back of it is going to act as a wall and stop the marble. What we want to do is get in here and fall down just a little bit more. So go into the hole and fall down and then come out a different one to go to a different tower. So you're probably going to want to tape this edge to around the bottom of this edge, so gravity will do the rest of the work for you. For the top one, the one that it comes out of, you can tape it straight to the back wall right here. And I think I'll do just that to keep it from moving around. For most of these tube towers, tape is very handy to work with at first to make sure that, you know, the tower is working the way you want it to. Because, you know, the tape is quick to use, but then when you're done with the tape, or when you've finalized everything, to make it really sturdy, you might want to go back and glue parts of it. I'm going to do that when we're done filming here. Okay, tape that. And we'll come around here and we'll tape that. Okay. There we go. Now let's make the third one. So once again, we're going to pick a spot on this tower that the marble's gone to that's lower than the part right here, so it can drop down and keep going a little bit. And you can keep it going in a straight line, or you can choose a new direction to go. I think I'm going to make it have a turn like this. And remember, this doesn't have to be too much lower than the other one. In fact, it can be the same level if your tube goes all the way through, or if you use a different tube to connect it. Okay, I'll take this off. I taped them together to show you real quick how they work, but when you're working on it, it might be better decision to just measure out where you want the windows to be and then cut them and then connect them. Because it's a little difficult to cut them when they're all together, you know? Okay, there we go. There's that one. Tape right there. And this will be sturdier when we glue everything together, but for right now, this is just the testing phase. We're going to take another one of our half pieces. Whoop. Line that up like that. And just like the first one, this can go all the way back and touch the wall, since it doesn't have, the marble doesn't have to drop down from here. So if we've got this set up, we decide to use a marble. Whoop! Those are our towers. There we go. All the pieces put together to make one giant contraption. So let's give it a go. Woohoo! There you have it. I hope that today I was able to help give you some ideas for any marble run that you might want to make. Because while the three things that we tested out and played around with are really cool, anything can be a marble run if you're creative enough. So I'd like you to start with these building blocks and see how much more you can expand on it, like edit the stuff that we've already worked on, or add new kinds of things that you know, we didn't even touch on, like maybe you could make a funnel. Maybe you could get one of those foam noodles and use that to wrap around, and then you've got a bendy marble tube. Regardless, I hope you have fun with it. This was one of my favorite things to do around the holiday seasons, and I hope that you have fun with it as well. This is going to be the last Maker Monday for a little bit, but don't worry, next month we are coming back with a new program that I'm going to be running called Science Time. So stay tuned for that. I've got a whole lot of really, really cool things planned, but Maker Monday will come back, don't worry. But we're going to let Science Time do its thing for a little bit. And on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season and a wonderful rest of the year. Take care, everyone, and thank you for sticking around. Bye-bye.